Cloud cover hasn't burned off yet, but it is supposed to get up to 74 today, which will be nice because I am going to have to actually go out and do some errands. Oh, I got my heating pad. Trying to do some heat treatment on my legs. I haven't been paying attention too much to the Amberlynn arc and what's going on with her, but yeah, she's got like the fake girlfriend, and apparently she uses a lot of platforms. And despite the fact that she's quite a bit larger than Chantel, she is operating on several platforms, TikTok and Instagram, in addition to YouTube. Well done, girl. Well done. That's fantastic. I think that you need to figure out how to have the arc where you can go out and do things without your mom. Just my 2 cents. Go out, do some things without your mom. Trying to heat treat my legs, you guys. Because I'm waiting for the cloud cover to burn off. Because then I can actually like put my legs in the sun. I can put on my little pride shorts, sit in the chair that I got positioned where it gets all sunny, and get some sun on my legs. Anywho, the Chantel stuff. Um, so the rumor is, this is the rumor. Obviously, I don't know if it's true or not. Is that there was an immigration office near that restaurant, and that's why they went all the way up to Kuwait City, despite the fact that they live in the suburbs in kind of a less financially rich neighborhood, shall we say. Um, they drove quite a ways to go have that dinner, which was okay. Let me say this about that video. You're trying to make it a mukbang because you want it to be attractive to your feeders, right? Um, but you fast forward through the main entree, and you fast forward through the main entree because you say there might be some copyrighted music in the background. Why couldn't you have just muted it and done a voiceover? Because we have no idea what you were actually eating, right? You had no description of the food. It's like such rookie fucking filming. It's so bad. It's so bad. And one of the channels I was watching the other day had pulled up other mukbang channels that were really fucking good. These were people with healthy body weights who were actually preparing the food. They sped it up so that you didn't have to like watch them chop every onion or whatever, but like they sped it up, and it ended up. This was on Sin and Sass, you guys. Sin and Sass pulled this up the other day where they pulled up some actual mukbang channels that I don't know why I guess I get dry skin here. When I seen your stream yesterday, I thought you were going to get lucky. Oh, because it was date night. Because it was a date night. No, I wasn't going to get lucky. I mean, there's the off chance that that might happen at any time because my ex is constantly calling me at 2 a.m. Dude is constantly calling me. But the last time we were together was on Mother's Day. So basically, there was an immigration office nearby that restaurant, and they went very far from where they are actually living. Which, by the way, she is still considered a visitor to Kuwait, as far as we know. She has a travel visa. So there should be in no circumstance that she says, "This is my home, this is where I live." No, honey, you have not gotten the paperwork to make that happen. You don't have anything that's based on uh, working that you could be there. You do not have anything based on education that you're going to school there. You got nothing. So she will have to leave the country very soon, as far as we can tell, despite the fact that she's lying to her audience and saying she's not going to do anything until next winter, fall, somewhere around there. I call bullshit. Unless she's trying to pull some sort of thing where she becomes so medically debilitated that she's incapable of leaving the country. But two things there. Wait, wouldn't it be through marriage or cultural journalism with her YouTube channel? This is Ponderosa who's putting these comments down. Um, well, the marriage is a loophole marriage, right? And accordingly, you can only get married in Kuwait if you're marrying a Kuwaiti citizen, and he is not that. He is a refugee. So he doesn't have citizenship. So, and she can't get him a marriage in Canada because she has so much debt, right? She would have to clear up her bankruptcies and her tax evasion in order to get married to him there. I don't think that's true, Ponderosa. She could be a refugee for her weight. I don't think that's true because we're talking about a Canadian who has national health care. You know, like that's I just don't see that being as realistic. You know, that you could be like, well, she just lived in a healthcare desert, so but you know, fat phobia is a phobia. Sure, sure it is. But there's also, you know, being irresponsible and not taking care of yourself, right? Irresponsible, not taking care of yourself, pretending that you're hurt every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. Plus size models are usually only about 20 pounds overweight, Ponderosa. They're not they're not 500 fucking pounds, okay? Do you guys remember the Survivor episode where they went back? I think they went back to like Africa, and one of the contestants was Sugar. And when she was asked what her occupation was, she said she was a plus size model. She she looked great, you guys. She looked fucking great. And the reality is she was just a little chubby, whatever. But that's what they consider to be plus size models. They do not consider people like Chantel to be plus size models. Period. That's not happening. Blew out. Just look it up. Sugar from Survivor. Chubby Wubby Mr. Hubby. I don't know. I mean, that dude obviously doesn't care about her health whatsoever. He also is not paying for anything, so he's an errand boy, you know. Um, that whole dinner setup was her design, and she paid for it. She tried to make a big deal of him pulling out the card, but that was her money. She fucking paid for that. And she turned it into a business venture so she could take all the receipts and say, well, I don't know that she actually even has the business acumen to do this, but you would save all the receipts and turn them in as a business expense. He is just trying to get it in, and I am not talking about the gin. Well, if that's like some sort of sexual reference, I don't think that's even happening at all. I think that her trying to imply that she threw out her back from having sex is bullshit. I don't think, first of all, I don't think she had sex. Second of all, I don't think that she threw her back out at all, because in the very next day video, she was walking fine. She's walking better than me. You know, I've got nerve damage in my left leg. I hobble. Sometimes I have muscle failure and fall. I've had major collapses going up or down curbs. I mean, I'm very lucky I haven't fallen downstairs. That's been something I've been super paranoid about. And this girl is just making a joke of it. Like, I can just pretend every other week that I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. I'm hurt. Oh, I got a UTI now and kidney infection, and I'm on five different antibiotics because I also got that skin thing going on, and I had the what was it called, norovirus, just a couple weeks before that. Right, so I'm on like 5 different fucking antibiotics. How the hell does that happen? How do you get on 5 different antibiotics? Give me a break. Um, I don't know, like we're all just kind of watching this story to see like where it goes and where it crashes, you know? Does it crash with the channel getting taken down? Does it crash with a health emergency? What ends up being the end arc? Because there will be an end arc, and it's just scary to watch these people, but at the same time it's like watching a thriller. It's like watching a thriller, you guys. um I don't even know what to say about Salah. Obviously he has ulterior motives. Jail is an end arc. It's possible. I mean, I can't rule that out. I can't rule that out because they are clearly breaking a lot of laws, and several channels have covered various areas where they're breaking the law, you know? Um, and apparently, Kybella is living in California now. Girlfriend, get out of my fucking state. Couch surfing bitch. Get out of my state. She's in California, and so they're threatening to sue her because she is trying to sell Salah's nudes, right? She's trying to sell Salah's nudes. And that's revenge porn, period. And it's illegal in California, it's illegal in Kuwait. They cannot pursue it in Kuwait because if they pursued it in Kuwait, then through discovery, all of his other text messages would come into play. And those are all illegal as well in Kuwait. So they can't do it there. They would have to file the suit in California. And they seem like they're a bit too poor right now to like do anything other than appease her feeders. I don't even know if they like figured out. Hey, Clara, girlfriend, what you up to? I haven't seen you in a little while. I don't think they could file that suit in Kuwait because it would put him at risk for all of the discovery around like the text messages and the audio files and everything else, which are illegal in Kuwait. Um, However, if they filed the suit in California, which is where I think YouTube wraps up into Google, right? But Twitter, I don't know. I think that Ethan, what's his face? Ian, um, that jackass with the space company was his fucking name. I think he actually moved operations out of California into Texas. So they would have to actually file claims in Texas, which probably have less protective laws. You got a job? Oh my God, that's so cool. I'm going to have to be working on that very soon too. But I'm still not on medical release. They still haven't given me my final like medical release of this is what you can do, this is how many hours you can work, this is what kind of things that you can lift, this is how many stairs you can climb every day. I still don't have that. So I need them. Hey Kalari. Hey, big hugs to you too, girlfriend. But yeah, so my thoughts are if they wanted to pursue the revenge porn thing, they'd have to do it in California. However, I'm a little confused about whether or not Twitter has moved to Texas. Um, there are different ways you can do this. Okay, so I was a proposal manager for 10 years. And one of the things that we always debated in contract negotiations was deciding where things would be litigated if there was a dispute. And it had to be laid out in the contract. Now, obviously, that's not going to be the case with these folks because they're not going to have contracts, right? But it was important to us to understand where things would be litigated. And in most cases, because the companies I worked for were all in California, so they wanted the cases to all be litigated in California. So that way, our chief legal officer could represent. Because if it was in a different state, we'd have to use one of our contracted attorneys because there was a whole fucking list. There was a whole list of contracted attorneys. Thank you, Clara. I hope I get more time to heal and rest. I have a feeling they're going to declare me permanently disabled, but we'll see what happens. I have another doctor's appointment coming up. We'll see what happens. So, it's important that you decide like where you're going to litigate because you have certain people that you rely on to be your representation. So like when I was um on my way out the door of I'm not going to name the company and we ended up going into a dispute. They obviously wanted it in California, which is fine by me. I live in California, not a problem. But they wanted to send in the chief legal officer, who I knew very well. Like we were friends on the job. And so while I gave, I think it was 2 or 3 days of deposition, um, I could look him in the eyes and say, "This is what happened, dude." And at the end of it, they offered me a settlement, and like it was like, okay, we're done. Like let's get out of here because this is some bullshit that you did this to me. And part of that settlement was they were not to disparage my character any further. They could not say that I was on no higher status or whatever. They had to make sure that they never like keep my name out your mouth kind of bullshit. Like fuck the hell off with what you did to me kind of thing is what happened there. So anyway, what they would do is they'd have to sue in California. Now, they can scare her with a lawsuit because she is allegedly couch surfing, right? She claims that she is homeless and that she's just staying at people's houses. That's couch surfing, right? Um, they don't have any fucking money. Look at what they've been buying. Look at what they've been buying lately, you guys. They don't have any fucking money. They're not going to sue her because, in order to sue her, they would also have to hire a private investigator to actually track her down, to nail down where she is located and serve her, right? You got to actually serve her with the notice. And then what? You can't get blood. She got the fucking reference wrong on her live stream, you guys. You can't get blood from a turnip. Is the expression. She can't fucking even get. She can't. Look, I get that the Ishmael story is in the Quran and the Isaac story is in the Old Testament. I get that there is a religious difference there because the Quran, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Exactly. Like, I've had to drop lawsuits. I had to drop the lawsuit against the people who owned the dog that attacked me because my attorney was such an asshole. He couldn't figure out if they had homeowners insurance. I'm sure it is. I'm sure the Quran is beautiful, but the main difference between the two religions is this story about Abraham having two sons, right? So Sarah, his wife, I think that was her name, right? Wasn't it Sarah? Had convinced him to take on a concubine because she was infertile. She couldn't have a child. And so that's why Ishmael was born of the concubine, right? But Sarah kept being told by angels that she would ultimately bear a child. And so ultimately she did. She bore Isaac. I think I'm getting the story right, but if anybody else knows it better than me, you can absolutely correct me. So it makes sense that what happened next is once she was able to have her own child, she wanted the concubine and Ishmael basically banned. Like, go away, right? Because now you're a challenge to my son, right? I believe this is how it went down, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So it would make sense that the Quran has that particular story as Ishmael as the sacrifice, whereas the Old Testament has Isaac as the sacrifice. Because these are the two different people that basically founded the tribes that became the Jewish people and the Muslims. And so they would both want to claim that story. Now, my understanding is that it was a lamb that was sacrificed instead of the child. So I don't know why they're eating goats. Maybe that's cheaper. I don't know. Anybody know? Does anybody know how, how that goes? I mean, I did have to take catechism, Chantel. I have been confirmed. I had to do all of that. And, you're like, oh, are you reading your Bible every day? I mean, don't you think like the first 20 years of my life having to read Bible passages is enough for me to actually have some goddamn knowledge in this subject? For fuck's sake. I can't even. Ah, okay. Where are we? So, she had her date night. She had her fucking date night, you guys. It was a great date night. It was lovely. She needed to capture it on video so she could prove that it happened. And she needed to have Salah I fuck the camera and shit. It was good times. It was filled with B-roll, and they apparently got a bit bitchy with each other on the way back home on the drive home stream. They got a little bit bitchy with each other and with the chat. I think maybe they need to do a sit down and figure out what are we doing wrong? Like, why are people not receptive to why are they not receptive to our live streams and our vlogs and stuff? Like, what's going on here that we're not getting it right? I don't know. Maybe you should stop fake falling on the stairs. Maybe you should stop faking injuries and trying to say that, oh, I threw out my back. But look at me. I'm walking upstairs today. Walking upstairs, up ramps. I look great. Right? Um, it's hilarious. That's the only reason I watch it is because it's like so comical. It's so off the wall comical that she actually thinks people are going to believe her bullshit. Um, but yeah, for those of us who do reacts, don't let this internet bully try and tell you that you have to show your date night. I'm never going to show you my boyfriends, period. Like, no, thank you. When I go out and I'm like playing pool, I'm singing karaoke, I'm throwing darts, I'm, dancing. Whatever. I don't really dance anymore unless like the person is totally holding me up. But um, none of your business. I don't need to give you that, and you don't need to demand that of me. You're already demanding that people go on cam while you're wearing all these fucking filters, making your phone look like it's a foot long. Fucking foot long phone, on the table. Holy shit, you guys. Take the filters off, Chantal. Be real. Be real with yourself. I'm being real right now. This is what I look like. No makeup, no filters. I'm just sitting here having a chat, right? But there you are demanding. that the people who use avatars don't come out behind them. And pretty much everybody, including the men, have said, fuck you for that. You pretty much only come after Gorlick Bread for his avatar situation in regards to the men. Um, but you have affected other reactors like Unicorn Pondu. He had some words about it as well that not your business, you know? So, um, and a lot of the stuff that she gives to us isn't our business either. And yet she gives it to us willingly for us to comment on it. Like, shut your goddamn trap. You don't need to be that open about shit. I didn't need to know that you had a UTI. I didn't need to know that you had some sort of skin condition with a boil that popped. I didn't need to know that you were on 5 antibiotics. I don't need to know about every achy part of your body. I really don't need to know. So keep it to yourself. Keep your trap shut and do what you're going to do. If you're going to do mukbangs, do your goddamn mukbangs, but don't fucking appeal to any of us for sympathy about your fucking health issues. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. You're not doing anything to fix it. So why do I care? I don't care. All right. What do we got here, Kalari? Exactly. And no more fake health journey either. For real. She's always like, oh, I prayed to Allah and I said I'm going to treat my body with respect and I will never do this again. And then it's what, 5 days later that she was doing mukbangs again? And it's like the dumbest ass crap. She's doing like fucking Wendy's and Chili's and Substop. Like, girlfriend, if you're gonna be a mukbanger, you better show me something that looks appetizing. For fuck's sake, give me something appetizing. I might actually go back to that Chinese place and try the jellyfish because that sounded really weird, and I think I just want to taste it. You know, that's like the only mukbang I've done. Yep, and defiantly saying, I'm 40, I'll eat what I want. Chantel stays a mess. Arity. None of her food is appetizing. It's all gray. I know, like she picks like the worst. Even when she cooks for herself, it looks terrible, right? Like she's like, I was out of breadcrumbs, so I put a bunch of white bread in the oven and, dried it out and then put it in the food processor. There was no onions, there was no peppers, there was fucking nothing in that meatloaf. I like sesame chicken in general, so. I generally like that's kind of the stuff I would order at like pickup sticks or something. But like when I go to a classic sort of Chinese place, I want to try like their interesting stuff. And the one that I went to recently has abalone and jellyfish on the menu. They went to a fancy restaurant and ate the same rice and sauce crap. I don't. They literally ordered the same dishes they always order. I mean, usually when I get Indian food, I do get the spinach paneer and the tiki masala. But if I was doing some sort of high level video and going to an Indian place, I would try something more interesting. I have had lamb on the menu before. She says she doesn't like lamb. I don't get it. I don't get it when people say they don't like lamb because in my mind it's not that gamey. It's not like duck. I can't handle duck, you guys. Duck is way too gamey. In fact, my ex-boyfriend when we were living in Virginia made duck one night and insisted he wanted to do this duck, blah, blah, blah. And then he left all of the cooking utensils and everything in the sink overnight. And when I woke up the next morning, the whole house smelled like wet dog. And I just ended up like throwing up, totally throwing up, right? They dressed like a cushion couch from the 70s, and he looks like a bum with a weird camo sweatpants. I know, they went to a nice restaurant and they couldn't put clothes on for that. And they were there at dusk, Kalari. They they were there at dusk, so it's not like, oh, I'm going for lunch. I'm just stopping in, lunch special, whatever, like this is dusk. And they're in there in like, I mean, well, look at the clown costume he wore to his own marriage. He wore like jeans and a freaking t-shirt. We're getting married. Jeans and a t-shirt. So cool. Obviously very respectful. So much love here. I love her so much. She's so beautiful. And did you hear about like when she talked about this on a live, I guess recently this week? Somebody asked her how he proposed to her. Laugh out loud. Exactly. Both of them are like teenagers. I laugh at her going, we don't see their chemistry. Can't see what it doesn't exist. There is no fucking chemistry there. It's um part of the reason that um I broke up with my boyfriend is that he wanted to keep us on the down low until his girls graduated from high school. And he was afraid that if I was invited to events, that the way he looked at me would make it obvious that we were dating, and he didn't want them to know. Makes me really sad, you guys. This fucking thing went the way it did. I thought she went over there, and after 2 days, they got married. I love using finger quotations. Married. Um, I don't know what this married situation is. They obviously pose in front of buildings that they may or may not actually be entering, Kalari. So, like, for example, the picture of her in the wheelchair, where she tried to give the impression to her audience that she was now wheelchair bound, um, that was outside of some sort of clinic, but it was like one of those standard wheelchairs that they offer up to people who enter the clinic. Like, I've used them, when I go in for my Kaiser appointments. If my legs are really not working that day, I will sit down in a wheelchair and ask for medical assistance to be pushed through the building. But the thing is, we have no proof she actually got pushed through the building and actually had an appointment and actually was seen that day. Just taking a picture outside of the building in a loaner wheelchair does not prove that you actually had an appointment. And she let it lay with her fan base that she now had a wheelchair at her house, which was not true. That was a loaner. She only has 3 shirts that she rotates. It's so sad. She can't dress herself. She can't decorate a home. She has no hobbies or interests. Arity, she won't even put anything on the walls, like her plaque, right? She won't put a nail in the walls because she knows this is a temporary situation. And once they move out, they would have to spackle all of those nail holes. I honestly think she stunts her illness too. Her sciatica is very selective. She doesn't have sciatica, period. If she has back pain, it's something else. But she was unable to describe the symptoms of sciatica when she first said she had it. She was unable to describe that it's a basically like a pinch in your lower back and it sends shooting pains down your leg. She was unable to describe that, and she has been trying to recover from um, not being able to describe that ever since. And so she just throws it out there. Oh, my sciatica. You don't have sciatica, bitch. You have something else. If you've got back pain, it's probably related to your weight. You know, the fact that you've got like all this fucking fat all up front that is pushing on your spine. But that's not the same thing as having sciatica, you know? Of course, it's selective. She uses it when she needs to get out of going places. Yeah. Every time she starts doing like outdoor adventures with Salah, she then has, oh, my sciatica. Shut up, girl. You don't have sciatica. She also hasn't been diagnosed for it. She hasn't had any imaging. And then she's like, I'm not going to talk about my health anymore. I'm not going to disclose this. But then immediately does a mukbang saying, I threw my back out. I do not care, bitch. I don't care if you threw your back out. I think she really wants something to be wrong with her, to be immobile, and that is scary. Yeah, Kalari, I think so as well. She is actually looking for caretakers. Amber Lynn is on a certain level as well, looking for caretakers, but she's certainly not going to the low levels of Chantel. Like, Chantel is really putting herself out there to be like, you have to take care of me. I'm so destroyed by my sciatica. And by the way, let me do these mukbangs. And I'm going to eat some Wendy's and go, mmm, 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 mmm. So good, right? I watched some reaction to Amberlynn Reed talking about not wanting to lose muscle, so she has to eat. Ma'am, the girls make me slow blink. That's pretty good. You gotta eat your protein so that you don't lose your muscle, Kalari. That's good. Hungry Chick is the worst. Cheats a lot. I've heard of her channel, but I heard that she's not as dramatic and um, doesn't have as much chaos going on. Like she just does her mukbangs and is kind of over with it. I don't think any of this shit should be legal. To be real with you, I don't think any of this should be legal at all. But HFC, Hungry Fagic, just makes too much noise eating for me, but she seems like a sweet lady. Yeah, she's trying to. What is that acronym they keep using lately to describe eating noises? She's apparently trying to tap into that. She's funny though. I honestly do not get the appeal of mukbangs. I I don't either, Kalari. I really don't. Not getting it. I mean, I did one about a week ago. I did a Chinese mukbang just as kind of like a parody of it. But at the same time, I'm like, here's my serving plate, and this is what I'm spooning out. This is like a healthy adult portion. I don't know why Chantel can't like use normal plates and just show a picture of this is what I purchased and this is how I'm portioning it out as an adult meal. You know, mukbang content is disgusting for sure. Yeah, but I bet your portions were not like the Gorals or Nick Avado. Nick, isn't he Nick Avocado or something like that? They really eat massive amounts of food. It's crazy. Yeah, I did not have massive amounts of food. I mean, cooking videos make sense with recipes, but a table full of McDonald's is just disturbing. Oh, Nick. Um, I went to a local Chinese place that does really good Chinese. So obviously, I did not cook it myself. I ordered, this is about a week ago. So this is on my channel. It's called Chinese Mukbang. And I had ordered scallops in black bean sauce and Chinese broccoli in oyster sauce. I also had a cup of egg drop soup and some green tea. I didn't even order rice with my meal, which obviously most people, when they're, doing Chinese, they have rice, right? Um, but I portioned out a little bit for that meal. This was the night I found out that my toilet was leaking, so I actually had to cut it a little short and figure out what was going on at my house. But it's up. It's called Chinese Mukbang, and I go over the menu and the fact that they have weird shit like jellyfish and abalone. I must say, glitter and lasers. That's what she's called, right? is up there too. She bothers me almost more than Foodie for several reasons. Okay, Clara. So I have only covered one of her videos, and it was the one where she went to Target and fucking tried to redress like the mannequin. Um, it was the one she pulled down, but people caught it, right? And she was just so rude. And, I used to work in retail myself. So I know what it is to have to clean up after, like refold all the merchandise after somebody like that walks through and throws everything around. Um, I just haven't really watched her at all since I saw that video because it was so offensive to me that I really didn't. Oh, plus, I heard that she was one of the ones that was trying to sue everybody who reacted to her videos. It is a nice restaurant, Robert. It's really good. It's funny because it's like kind of, just like it's like by the DMV. It's like doesn't even have a cool name. It's like classic Chinese restaurant or something like that. And but it's so good, and like it's usually filled with Asian people eating there. So it's good, right? Um it's her fashion choices for me, Clara Bixby. I'm a big lady and I do not want all my rolls and creases hanging out. It's disturbing. I did see Kalari. I saw some of her winter wear where she's wearing coats and stuff like that. And I thought that actually looked pretty good, but you're right. Like yeah, some of her summer attire is it's not great. It's not great. Not great. Um okay, folks. It's been nearly an hour and I do have other things I gotta get done today. Hey, Clara, you should definitely be following Kalari if you're not already. She does a lot of live streams too. I'm trying to. Oh my god, somebody's walking by listening to the Indiana Jones theme song. This must be the guy that, like, puts a stereo to his head while he's doing his morning walk. Yeah, by the way, talking about that body confidence, Kalari, I feel so much like um Chantal has lost that. Like in hooking up with Salah, she decided she was gonna just hide everything. I'm gonna hide everything. I'm gonna hide behind filters. Whereas before that, she might have been outrageous. She might have been coked out, you know, by her own testimony, you know. Um, she might have been doing some weird shit and showing her ass and showing her boobs and whatnot, but she clearly did not have as much of a problem with her body as she did after she married Salah, right? You do, Clara. Nice. Yeah, I can totally see Kalari's progress, by the way. I'm totally noticing it. I know that Chantel likes to say that we're all bigger than her, which obviously we are not. But Kalari is one that really triggers her because she's also racist, right? So she has the whole "you're bigger than me" kind of bullshit, but she likes to say that about all of us. And I've done several videos showing that I am at a healthy body weight. And despite the fact that I have nerve damage and it's hard for me to walk, I can still keep my body weight down, right? That is her false narrative. That's what a lot of people do when they're trying to create like hit campaigns. Is they just um, push out a false narrative about the people around them, and they're like, "Well, you're bigger than me." Not so much, girlfriend. That is not true. Kalari is definitely not bigger than you, and neither am I. So I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't think Yaba is. I don't think Frenchie is. And I don't think they have to prove it either. Because most of what we talk about is her dramatic nonsense. That's why Hungry Fat Chick doesn't get as much coverage. Because she's not being dramatic. She doesn't have weird shit going on. So just doing the mukbang by itself, not a big deal. You know? You're 5'9". That sounds that sounds like a healthy body weight because you're pretty tall, right? You're a medium. Okay. Well, I am 5'4.5" and I weigh 139. So I'm quite a bit shorter than you. And I mean that makes sense. You're a tall girl. You're a tall girl. I do need to wrap this up, you guys. I've been trying to wrap this up. I'm gonna wrap this up, but thank you all for stopping in. And well, not always, Robert. You were a kid at some point. You're not always the same size. You were always the same size. All right. Well, thank you all for jumping in today and for chatting. And Clara, I can't believe that you're in exile, but I guess, you are in Orange County. I actually probably have to buy XL at my size too, being real. It's so funny how they size things out here. It's terrible. Okay. Well, anyway, you all have a great hump day. I might be back later with some more reacts. Let's see how this goes. Take care.